Here's my campsite in the back of the park in Etna. They let hikers camp here for $10, which is a super affordable way to stay in the city, which is great. And they've got bathrooms and charging, and you can get showers and a hiker box. But they do run the sprinklers like in the middle of the night, and so I wanted to make sure that I was in the designated camping spot where they wouldn't run. But it was dark and I wasn't sure where it was. But for this picnic table, when somebody has left beers and hard-boiled eggs on the table, you know you're in the spot where the hikers have hung out. Also, it rained off and on kind of all night, so everything's just kind of a little bit damp. And I haven't been able to check the weather because there wasn't a lot of service in this back park area. But we'll have to see if there's going to be more rain. There's the bathrooms, and they had a little hiker box that even had a little freeze-dried meal that I was able to get. The deer were exploring all over the park last night. Had a few little visits from them. And when I got here, it was dark, but the tennis courts were all lit up and people were playing pickleball. So this was a great stay. It felt very safe. Finally found the payment kiosk. I couldn't find it in the dark last night. This is downtown Etna. There on the left is the butcher shop where I got my sandwich yesterday. There's Etna back in there. And I didn't go here, but there's Dottie's. They have good burgers and shakes. Wow, these are really good. I like that sign. All right, I'm leaving Etna. That was a wonderful town. I had a great morning there. I got up early and went to the bakery, which I've been hearing about for ever since the desert. I think I met some friends of the bakery owners down there and they said, you have to go to the Etna bakery. And then I met some other hikers a few hundred miles ago and they said, you have to go to the Etna bakery. And so I did go to the Etna bakery and it was delicious. And they had this breakfast sandwich made on their homemade focaccia bread. Oh, it was gigantic and it was only $9 and it was so delicious. And they're really hiker friendly and they have a bunch of great places to hang out with lots of charging, which is what I really needed. I was trying to get out earlier, but I have to get my phone on full charge because I'm starting my fire reroute today and there's so many unknowns. Like, how long am I going to be out here? I don't know. And I'm really dependent on my phone for navigating on this stretch. And of course I have backups on my watch and I can always just back up the way I came if I get somewhere and I can't go any further. But yeah, this reroute I had to come up with pretty much all on my own because nobody is around doing this. Everyone's skipping from Shasta to Mount Shasta to Ashland, and the Blue Fire is just south of Syad Valley. I don't want to go too near to that. Although, to be honest, with the weather the way it is, it's going to be rainy and thunderstormy the next few days. And I watched the community update about the Blue Fire, and it looks like they've got the eastern perimeter and northeastern perimeter pretty secure. So it probably wouldn't come my way anyways. I could go closer to it, but I've selected a route that goes quite wide of it. And I spent all yesterday, I got in kind of late, all yesterday and all morning trying to figure out my fire reroute because there's so many tiny little roads, so many options, because I'm getting all the way around and getting back on the PCT just before the Oregon-California border, which is like 90 miles of trail away. I think it's going to be about like a 60-mile road reroute. And so this morning at the bakery, I had finally gotten it down to a few options, had them all in my CalTopo app. I was musing over which ones had better water access, were going to be better roads to walk on, we're probably hopefully not going to be on private property and I'd have to reroute. but I was still feeling a little uneasy about it. It's the unknown, and any of these roads could just stop or be impassable for whatever reason. And I couldn't figure that out in advance just by looking at my maps. And then, very fortuitously, a wonderful local who I had seen in the grocery store the night before was talking to me, and it turned out that he had really in-depth knowledge of all the roads in the area, knew the fires super well, and he and I just hashed over my maps and my plans for like 45 minutes, and he was like, yeah, this road's good, this road's not, like this one doesn't go through public property or doesn't go through private property and you can definitely get through. Like this one's really confusing and it's really easy to get lost, and this one is like a really busy road and you like it might be kind of sketchy with cars, but it has good water access and good camping. So we just talked about all the options, and in the end I finally have a route that got his stamp of approval, and I feel really good about it and confident that it's going to go through probably. So for the current route, the first choice I had to make, I am prioritizing my route for avoiding really busy highways with low visibility with narrow shoulders. That's the most sketchy thing to me. And so I could have gone Scott River Road, but that's more indirect and then would dump me onto California 96, which is a bigger road and a little sketchier to walk on. And the second thing I prioritized was coming to little tiny civilization centers. Has kind of like little pit stops to anchor my hike. So I'm going to go through Fort Jones, and they have a little restaurant, and then I'm going to hopefully go through this Quincy RV camp a little bit later on with a general store. It just feels good to have civilization in the middle of my hike, just in case. So the first stage of the reroute is Highway 3. It's kind of busy. You can see there's lots of cars going by like every minute or so, but it's really easy to see them coming, and there's plenty of room for me to get off the shoulder when I need to. And it's 12 miles into a little town with a burger. And the reason I'm doing a road reroute instead of just skipping is because the route is going to be unknown to me, and that makes it an adventure. And adventures are really fun. I love the PCT because it is predictable, but it is so known, and especially for me, I almost always know what's coming. So it's fun to be able to do something where I'm gonna have exciting surprises along the way in these next 60 miles. One more thing about this, when you are going off trail and doing a route that nobody has ever done before, you can get yourself into quite a pickle if you don't know what you're doing. And I am not the most experienced at this, but I do have the skills necessary to make a good plan A and good contingency plans B, C, D, E, F, and G. And if things really hit the fan, I have the skills and the experience to figure it out. Oh, there's a huge field of corn. Not sure if you can hear it, but there's about 1 million birds in there. It's break number 1. I'm letting myself do 6 miles at a time now, if I want. I don't have to. But on big road walks like this, sometimes it's just all private property and nowhere good to sit. But I got lucky. There's this little shady, unused road right next to it. So I have a good spot. There's rain just east of me and a little bit behind me, and I'm getting sprinkled on a little bit, but I'm also almost to a little kind of gas station convenience store thing, so I might be able to wait this one out undercover. All right, this small collection of buildings is Greenview. They've got a feed store, a bank, a mart, and a gas station. The ice cream bar, obviously.
Okay.
That was Mean Jeans Mart. That was a great little stop. They had a picnic table in the cover from the rain. They've got these cool little works of art, I think. And it was also fun because I got to meet a local there and chatted with her for a while. And she's got family ties to Etna going back to 1853 or something, which is super cool. And she's opening up a deli in Etna, but next year. So I'm sad I didn't get to go to it this time, but next time I'm in Etna, I will definitely go visit it. There's a lot of rain over there to the west. Also, today has been pretty chill. I had town food, and then I walked 6 miles and I got gas station town food. And then I walked 6 more miles and I'm about to get town food. And here is Fort Jones that I'm coming into. It's a little bit bigger than Greenview and has multiple restaurants. We've got some cute historic little buildings in here too. Look at that church! Huh? And this one just looks like a tropical jungle in the middle of the town. Well, that was a wonderful little stop in the town of Fort Jones. I think it's a very historic little town. I need to look up some more information about it, but I went to the Five Marys Burger Place. Delicious burgers. They raise their beef just down the road. Okay, but this next stretch from Fort Jones up to the Klamath River is about 25 miles, and I have no idea about the water sources. There's blue lines on the map, but do they have water? Is it flowing? Not a clue. So I have loaded up with my full 5 liters of water. If I get water on the way, that'll be bonus water, that'll be great. But if not, I'm prepared to go 25 miles dry. All right, it's raining again. I'm buttoned up. My water carry is so heavy and it seems silly since there's so much rain and there's probably going to be creeks running from it. But you just never know, so I gotta carry it. But it's so heavy. I'm very happy to be turning off of Highway 3 onto McAdams Creek Road. So that's so much hay. Because this road is going to be a lot quieter. 3 was fine. It was just a lot of cars. It felt safe and I had plenty of shoulder to go off onto when cars were coming, but there was just, the cars were always coming. So yeah, it'll be nice to be on something quiet. The rain really picked up right as soon as I got to this person's hay bale overhang. I hope they don't mind if I wait out the worst of the rain here before walking on. It's so hard to leave. This place is so nice and dry, and the worst of the rain has stopped. It's not going to completely stop, so I have to walk on. But it would have been really cool to sleep up there. But I'm not going to, obviously. That's trespassing. Also, this is how close to the road it was. Literally right off the road. If that isn't the cutest little farmhouse, and matching trucks. It's a walnut tree. So those must be the walnuts, and then all of them have these webs in them. I'm still on this little McAdams Creek Road. It's been drizzling for hours, sometimes a little heavier, sometimes only misting like it is right now. Also, I think back there was the closest I will ever come to being on a grand adventure and bad weather hits and you have to seek shelter in a barn and sleep on the very top of a giant bunch of hay bales, which I didn't realize was a huge dream of mine, but apparently it is. I'm more sad than I thought that I don't get to sleep on top of a bunch of hay bales. But I am not willing to creepily sneak into someone's barn in order to fulfill this dream, so it will probably remain unfulfilled. I'm still on the same road, but now my small paved road has turned into a small dirt road, and it has turned back into a paved road. Oh, what is that? Blue sky? Update. It's a dirt road again. Big news. It's turning back to a paved road again. Oh, this is such an exciting day. Wow. I think it's a big blue eye. All right, it's time for the third navigational turn of the day. I am leaving McAdams Creek Road. I'm turning onto 45 and 49. This road is following Deadwood Creek, and apparently Deadwood used to be a town that was it said was one of the most important business centers in early Siskiyou County. It's like in 1857 there was a bunch of stores, butcher shops, stables, dairy, and it talks about all the businessmen that were there and how it almost won the county seat, but I think it was second to Wairika. I think that's how you pronounce that. Maybe not. And I think it was a mining town. Let's see what else. By 1858, its glory had begun to fade, and on December 26th, 1861, there was a disastrous fire that burned most of the town. And then this sign itself was erected in 1948. Cool little bit of history. And I don't know if this right here used to be the site. I don't see any ruins or anything. Also, I've been keeping a close eye on public versus private property in this area using the map overlay in my Caltopo maps where I have my route. And the road I've been on has been public access, but there's been a lot of private property to either side of it. And now I'm really close to getting fully into like all USA land. There's going to be a little bit more private property up here, kind of off to the side. I think I'm in a little USA corridor though, but I want to be deep in USA land before I look for somewhere to camp. See, that unnerved me a little bit. I will add this back into yesterday's video. Last night, the sun was setting and I really needed to find a tent site, and I had finally made it to all USA land. And so there was tons of places that geographically, legally, I was allowed to be. But topographically, the right side of the road, kind of like this, was still super steeply sloped upwards. And then the left side of the road was steeply sloped downward into the Deadwood Creek Ravine. And so there just weren't a lot of options. And I don't like to camp right next to a dirt road. It's probably fine, but I just don't like the idea that people late at night could come driving by, and if they've been drinking, might decide to mess with my tent. I just feel uneasy being this close to potential civilization that's easy to get to. And so I prefer to be, I was hoping to be like way off in the woods, far from sight. But I ended up in a little camping area that's clearly been used before, kind of right off the road. Still not totally visible from the road, but like too close for my personal comfort. And also on the walk in, I've been seeing several locations of like dump spots with lots of trash and abandoned cars and like old furniture that was rusting, and just a lot of signs of civilization. And that always, I don't know, makes me a little uneasy. So I wasn't feeling super comfortable when I got my tent site set up, and I pretty much I didn't want my headlamp on that long, because when my headlamp's on, people can see that from really far away. So I pretty much got my tent set up as quick as possible, didn't eat dinner, didn't change into my pajamas, just like got lights turned off as quickly as possible and went to bed. Anyways, obviously everything was fine. It was a dreary, rainy day anyways, so I didn't see a single car or headlights or anything that night. And it turned out to be a really good campsite.